Okay, it's time. My first tier ranking, and I am tier ranking every book I DNF'd in 2022. There are 29 of them. So get yourself a snack, get yourself a beverage, and let's get into it. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Nakia. Welcome to my channel. So I promised and I am delivering. I did this video last year where I talked about every book I DNF'd in 2021. I will link that here. But I want to do something different this year, and this will be more fun for me and hopefully for you as well. We are going to do tier ranking every book I DNF'd in 2022, and I have 29, as I said in the intro. I wish it was 30. I wanted that even number. But yeah, it is what it is. Most of these you've heard of, but it's been a while because I even forgot about some of these when I was putting them all together for this video. So first things first, I will explain my tiers that I created and, my system for doing this, and then we will get into the tier ranking, shall we? Okay, so I'm at my computer here, so you'll see me looking over here. My first tier is It's Not You, It's Me. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. These are ones that I feel like there's nothing wrong with them. It just wasn't for me. It's just not my cup of tea. Then my second tier is Have We Met? This one is I just don't even really remember anything. It's forgettable. So I probably read like a couple pages and just wasn't for me, and I just don't even really remember anything. So it's nothing wrong with it again, but I just don't even remember it. So it goes below the It's Not You, It's Me. My next tier is False Advertisement. Once again, I think this explains itself, but yeah, this is where I feel it was mismarketed because I went into it wanting one thing and I did not get that. So once I figured out that's not what I was getting, I was done. My next one is Wake Me at the Good Part. These are ones where I read some and I just got bored and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna fall into a slump if I keep reading this, so we're putting this aside. Then these last two, the bottom of the bottom. Insufferable characters. You should know by now, if you're new here, now you're gonna find out I cannot deal with a whole book of characters I cannot stand. I barely can deal with a main character I can't stand. That's just something that's difficult for me to read. So that is another way you will get a DNF. If I can't deal with the characters, you're going to the bottom. And last but certainly not least, we have, just no. These books, when I see the cover or I hear the title, I'm just disgusted or I'm just irritated all over again. And that is the worst of the worst for me. I'm sorry. But these are the ones that when I read them, I just was irritated with something other than the characters, just the writing, just all of it. I don't even want to think about it anymore. So now you got the tiers. Let's get into the tier ranking. Let's do this, shall we? All right, here we go. Book number one, The Book Eaters. Now this one, I kind of know where I'm going to put it because I just tested this out before I started filming because like I said, it's my first tier ranking. But this one is going to go in Wake Me at the Good Part. Yeah, I just wasn't into the second timeline in this book. There were two timelines. There was one where we were dealing with the mom and her son wanting to eat human brains and her having to go out in the streets and bring people home for him to eat. I was into that. And then we had flashbacks with the mom's backstory and her as a kid. I could care less. So I'm assuming it got better, but you would have to wake me at the good part because I wasn't waiting around for it. Next, we have Dead Silence. So many people love this book. It was on a lot of people's top books of the year, and I clearly DNF'd it. It was just not for me. This one, it goes in insufferable characters. I almost want to put it in, just no. I did not like any of the characters. They just were all annoying. There was no reason for me to follow them. It was nothing scary happening. So I'm like, I'm suffering through these characters and I'm not into it. We're done here. And then we have Dracula. Now, this one I was actually doing as an audiobook. It had a whole cast of characters, including Tim Curry and some other folks that I don't remember, but I was really enjoying the audiobook until I wasn't. So this one would be, I'm gonna put this in False Advertisement because where was Dracula? I was into it when we did get Dracula at the castle with, I forgot the main guy's name, but then we switched to letters from Dracula's girlfriend and her friend, and I just wasn't into it. And then I found out from someone that Dracula is barely in the book, and I know we weren't even going to get the other guy that I was interested in the very beginning. So I was like, why is the book called Dracula when we barely get Dracula? They lost me. So There we go. I don't think I will go back to it because I could care less about those women and it was too much of them. So there we go. Now, Fall of the House of Crane. I'm gonna put this in It's Not You, It's Me. Let me fix my screen here. This one was a retelling of The Haunting of Hill House, which I was not that crazy about. I was kind of bored with. And this one was really close to the book. It was just more modern. So I feel like if you like The Haunting of Hill House, you would enjoy this book. I just didn't like Haunting of Hill House enough to want to reread another book based on the same thing. So there's nothing wrong with that book, just wasn't for me. Next, we have Final Girls. Where do I put this? I'm gonna put this in false advertisement. Once again, I just feel like the book is called Final Girls and we mainly got the main girl going through her regular life, and then one of the other final girls shows up and they become friends, and the one who showed up was doing weird stuff, but then she's putting up with her anyway. The only parts that were good to me were the flashbacks to what happened to the main girl back when she experienced the horrible events that made her a final girl, but it was just bits and pieces here and there. It wasn't enough for me. False advertisement. I got bored. Moving on. Next, we have A Flicker in the Dark. This was chosen for me by my daughter in my April TBR video. And this one, I'm gonna put it in insufferable characters. I just did not like the main character. She was a psychologist who was popping pills and she had her own issues. And then we were dealing with her and her man. And I wanted to hear her read the book about her dad and the serial killer part. Wasn't into her. I didn't like her enough to keep following her, so I was done. Get a Life, Chloe Brown. This one is the only romance on this list because I did a whole trying romance books video. You can check that out, I'll link it here. And this was the one that I decided to try to actually read from all the books that I tried a chapter of. And unfortunately, I would say, wake me at the good part. I almost want to put it in It's Not You, It's Me, but I just was bored with it. Once I really got into it, it just was not interesting to me. And we got more of the backstory, or we got more story of the main guy who was her boo, the one she was going to be with, and I didn't care about him, so I wanted to stick with Chloe Brown, not him. I just wasn't into it. Now, Naw is one that I mentioned in the TBR video, but I don't think I ever updated me DNFing it. This was a haunted house book, and I don't remember which video I was going to read it in, but I'm just going to put this in Wake Me at the Good Part. No, Have We Met. I'm gonna put it in Have We Met. I don't even really remember it. I'm pretty sure I probably read a page and I just was not into it. So it's just like, I forgot about it. I barely remembered it till I was looking at my list of things for this video. Go Hunt Me. This one's difficult because I have two places I could put this. It is in between insufferable characters or just no. And I'm gonna put it in insufferable characters. I did not like any of the characters. I talked about this. I didn't like the dialogue, the stuff they were saying out their mouths, mentioning things that do with social issues, and just, it felt very YA, and I now know YA is not my thing. I think I could deal with YA if it's like a science fiction book or historical fiction, something where, you know, the kids aren't speaking the way the kids speak these days. It drives me crazy. And it took too long to get to them going to Dracula's castle. So insufferable characters that I couldn't deal with long enough for them to get to Dracula's castle. Next, we have The Gone World. This is another one where I feel like Wake Me at the Good Part. I don't fully remember though. So maybe Have We Met? Because I think even when I was going to put this in on this list, I was like, what was this about? I don't even remember. I know this was like supposed to be some kind of like, it's a sci-fi thriller, futuristic stuff. I don't even remember, so Have We Met? Because I don't even remember it. Next, we have Green Glass House. This is a middle grade book, supposed to be a mystery. This one I would go with false advertisement for me, because this one was supposed to be, there's this, I think it's a hotel, and all these strangers show up and they have secrets, and the boy whose family owns the hotel, he's trying to figure out what's going on with these strangers. What I didn't know was that it was going to turn into a RPG type of thing. The boy was a fan of role-playing games. Him and his friend were trying to solve things using RPGs. I'm not into that, so I just didn't care. So when I got to that part of the book, I was like, this is what we're getting, I'm done. It's not for me. The Hat Makers. This one was a painful one to DNF, but I just was gonna fall into a slump if I kept reading it. So I'm gonna put this in Wake Me at the Good Part. I was into it for like the first half, but the whole thing about this book is the main girl, her dad goes missing. He goes off in a ship and there's a storm and he goes missing. She goes to try to figure out what happened with him. And then there's also the magical world of the hats they make, and they give people abilities and stuff like that from what I remember. But I wanted her to go on an adventure to figure out what happened to her dad or try to piece together things. And it just took too long for that. Like, I damn near got to the end and she hadn't done that yet. And then I think it continues in the second book. When I found that out, I was like, we're done. It was just taking too long and I lost interest and I put it down. So yeah, this would definitely be Wake Me at the Good Part. Next, we have people's beloved, The House in the Cerulean Sea. This one is definitely for me, false advertisement. I wanted a magical world with whimsy and like Harry Potter type of thing. This felt like a children's book. The humor just was not for me. I didn't think stuff was funny. I wasn't that in love with the main character to care what happened with him, whether he fell in love or not. The gnomes and sprites and things that he encountered, they were annoying to me. Yeah, so it almost is insufferable characters, but they weren't insufferable. I just didn't get what I wanted. It just wasn't for me. I know a lot of you loved it. It was not for me. Jade City, this is definitely, it's not you, it's me. It just went over my head. I don't know what I thought I was getting into, but I had to take notes. I couldn't keep up with names and places and any of that. So yeah, this is just not my kind of fantasy. I wanted to like it because of the martial arts stuff, but Next, we have Myths and Megaliths. I can't fully see the title, or Myths and Megaliths. This is a horror short story collection, gothic, but I think it was in, I think the author's Irish, I believe. If I'm not right, I'll correct it here on the screen. So these were all like Irish tales. I liked some of them, but a lot of them just didn't work for me just because I just wasn't interested. So I'm gonna put this in, It's Not You, It's Me, because there was nothing wrong with it. Like I said, they just weren't my kind of stories. I just didn't connect with them. Next, we have Lucy Foley and the Paris Apartment. This was another one of my most anticipated books of 2022. This one is going in Wake Me at the Good Part. I was so bored. I was just bored. This one was the apartment, and the main lady's brother goes missing, and she's trying to figure out what happened with him, and everybody in the building is a suspect, but I just didn't care. I was bored. That's enough to say about that. Next, we have Portrait of a Thief. This was another one of my most anticipated books of 2022. And this one was a heist book. There was a group of Asian folks, they're friends, and they were trying to steal back this Asian artwork, something like that. I just found it boring. I'm gonna go with Wake Me at the Good Part. I was bored and I was waiting on the heist part. It took too long and I wasn't that into the characters to wait. So notice the theme here. I get impatient. If the writing's not good enough for grabbing me or the characters, I'm done. We're done here. Ready Player One. I know this one for me is false advertisement. We were supposed to be getting a game where is this guy who had created this VR game and he left some kind of clue for if someone finds it, then there's like this big money or prize they could win, I think, from what I remember. And it just took too damn long. The boy that was the main one, we were just going along with him in school and it felt very young. He was in the chat rooms and all these little stupid jokes and the references that were to the 80s, just I wasn't here for. I'm a child of the 80s and the ones that were in this book weren't my cup of tea. So just was false advertisement for me. I wanted game. I swear, every book that says it has a game, it takes too long to get to the game and I'm always disappointed. I have not found one yet that I like that has a game in it. Is there another one on this list? Yes. So you already know. Next up, we have Secret Santa. I'm gonna put this in It's Not You, It's Me. This one is a horror book where this lady is working in an office and I believe she gets a gift, a Secret Santa gift, and there's something in it that's like makes people go crazy or something like that. I don't know. Once again, it was also supposed to be funny. The humor didn't work for me and I just was kind of bored. So, but there's nothing wrong with it. I just wasn't that into it. You know what? Maybe we'll put this in Wake Me at the Good Part because I was bored. So let's move that down to Wake Me at the Good Part. I could change my mind. All right, next up we have Shiver by Ali Reynolds. This I'm sure I read in January or something like that because this is a winter thriller book. It's supposed to be Locked Room. I keep falling for the Locked Room thing and it's never what they say. This one, insufferable characters. I just did not like the characters. I also feel like this was false advertisement. If I have to choose one, when I think about this book, it's insufferable characters. This also felt YA. I don't remember if it is YA, but it felt YA. It was all these friends get together and everybody had slept with everybody else and they flashing back to how they met and things they did when they were in their snowboarding competition. And the author's a snowboarder. There was too much information about snowboarding that I could care less about. Now I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't feel like this is just no. Actually, so far, I don't have anything down there. I may have to move something. You know what? Go hunt me. I feel, I don't know. Maybe I don't have anything for this. We'll see. Next, we have Stay Awake by Megan Golden. This was another one of my most anticipated books of 2022. Love the amnesia trope. And there was this lady who wakes up in a cab. She doesn't know how she got there, and written on her arm is Stay Awake. And she has to figure out what happened. And then there's like something she sees on the news that there's a killing, a murder, and there's writing on the wall that looks like the handwriting on her arm. So then she has to figure out how those two are connected. It sounds good, right? And the very beginning was good because we start off with her in the back of the cab and how she's figuring out where she, what happened, and she goes back home and it's not her home. All of that. Then we get flashbacks to her and her boyfriend and her when she worked at this magazine company or whatever. I could care less. So I guess this one would be for me. I feel like this is also false advertisement because we barely got any of that mystery part. For me, it was not enough. Next up, we have The Family Game. This is one that I have not talked about yet because I picked up the audiobook in December when I was looking for some kind of like Christmassy book to listen to in the car. I was listening to Helldivers and I was like, this is too dark for Christmas time. So I decided to look for an audiobook and I heard this one was good. So I decided to check it out. This is a domestic thriller, which if you know me, I don't. It's just not my thing. And this one is a husband and wife, and she's being introduced to the family, and they all have secrets and stuff. And I don't know why they call it a family game. I didn't get to that part. I guess they play some weird games that she's not into. I just was bored. I didn't care. So I'm gonna put this in Wake Me at the Good Part. Again, I didn't care enough. I just was like, I'm not into this. We're done. There wasn't enough atmosphere. I wasn't connected to the characters, so meh. Next, we have The It Girl by Ruth Ware. This is one that I think when I talked about this in a video, I said it was on hold. But the more I've heard people talk about it, I think I'm pretty done with it. I don't think I want to go back to it. I just don't think it's my thing. I don't care about dark academia, so I'm pretty sure it's not me. It's not my kind of thing, so I'm going to put this in Wake Me at the Good Part, because, the little bit I did read, I was just bored. And I wanted to just hurry up and get to the actual murder of the girl who's the it girl and what happened with the friends and all that. So it was just taking too long. I went into the main character enough to wait around. So I got bored. Next, we have The Measure. This one was so frustrating because when I started it, I was loving it. I thought it was gonna be a 5-star book. I posted about it on my Instagram, everything. And then I got to a part of the book where there were social things being brought up, where you can tell where the author stands. I'm not here for your political commentary. And then there was politics in it, once again, where you could tell where the author lies. And I just don't want that in my books. I don't want your commentary in here. This was a book where everybody in the world gets a box, and in the box there's a string, and the length of the string determines how long you're gonna live. So of course then it's, are you gonna open the box? Are you not? We meet a cast of characters. There were too many POVs. I was on board at first when we had like 4 people, and then she kept adding more and more and more. And I was to the point where I was like, that's enough people. And then, like I said, I'm not here for the social and political commentary. I just don't like that in my books. So I'm actually gonna put this in just no. Whenever I see someone talk about this book and they say, oh, I've heard so much about it, I'm like, oh, God. It was just so disappointing because it just changed so fast for me. And I just wanted to put something in the just no category. Which now I'm kind of like, I feel like Go Hunt Me and Shiver I want to put in the just no. Shiver I'm going to move down because that one did annoy me. I just didn't. When I look at this book, I get annoyed. Go Hunt Me, I will leave it in insufferable characters. Next, we have There Is No Cloud. This is a novella, sci-fi novella. It was about this woman working at a tech company where there's corruption. That's another one of the things that intrigues me because of things that go on in our world today. But I wasn't into the writing. I just really did not like the writing. That was my main problem. So I'm going to put this in, I'm gonna say, just no. I just didn't like it. This was probably one of the first ones where I did not like the writing at all. Like, I don't even know if I would try this author again. I just didn't like her writing. Next, we have My Beloved Upgrade by Blake Crouch. This one was so disappointing for me because I loved Dark Matter and Recursion. Like Recursion, I loved. That's my favorite book of his so far. I was really looking forward to Upgrade. This one is about a man who finds out something happened with his DNA to where now he gets supernatural abilities. He can, he's faster and stronger and smarter. and he has to try to figure out why and what's going on. Unfortunately, I got bored. I just didn't care enough about this character. I feel like all his other books, I was into the character, and also I just didn't care about the DNA part of the story and what he was figured out. And there was just a lot of like him being so smart and him throwing his intelligence around and stuff. I don't know. I just wasn't into this one. So I'm gonna put this in, oh God, this is difficult. Unfortunately, this is gonna be just no for me because I just didn't like it. I just feel bad because I didn't like it, but I didn't write it. Yeah, because I'm like, it wasn't necessarily insufferable characters. Maybe I'll put it at Wake Me at the Good Part because it's my Blake Crouch. I can't put it at, yeah, I'll put it at Wake Me at the Good Part because if I could skip ahead to something better, I probably would like it. I just didn't have the patience to wait around for it. So as we see, the majority of my things go here. All right, we're coming to the last three. Next, we have Vicious by V.E. Schwab. This is another one that I know so many people love, and I decided to give it a try, but this is a, I think it said it was adult, but it felt very YA to me. This is my first V.E. Schwab book, maybe my last. This is difficult because I did get pretty far, and I think I actually tried the audiobook, but the characters just fell flat for me. I just felt nothing. I didn't connect to them. This one was about these two friends that worked on some kind of, I think another kind of DNA thing where they tested it on themselves and they got superhuman abilities. One of them went to jail, and then the other one, like, they became enemies, and then they ended up trying to kill each other or something. I don't know. But yeah, this one is also going to go in the Wake Me at the Good Part. I just was not into it. I was bored. Just didn't care, unfortunately. Next, we have The Weston Game. This is a middle grade mystery book. It has won awards and everything, and I don't remember how I found this, but it's a locked room mystery. It's supposed to be. I just was not into the writing. I also didn't care for any of the characters. They weren't insufferable. I just didn't care for them. So, this one I'm gonna put it in Have We Met, because I barely remember anything about it. So it was just, nah, I just got bored and I just didn't care. I would say Wake Me at the Good Part, but I just wasn't into the writing and it's forgettable for me. And also, I don't want to put another one in the Wake Me at the Good Part. Last but not least, we have A Wizard of Earthsea. This one my daughter picked for me also in the April TBR video. She knew better. She knew it ain't my kind of fantasy. This one, once again, I'm going to put this in. This is beloved in the fantasy community, but I'm going to put this in the It's Not You, It's Me. It just wasn't my kind of thing. As we see, like with Jade City, when I try fantasy books like this, sometimes I just find out it's just not for me. So there you have it. Tier ranking all the books I DNF'd in 2022. I think I'm pretty happy with the list. We're gonna leave it like it is. So majority are in the Wake Me at the Good Part. A lot of the times I DNF because I get bored. So there, I'm gonna stop my screen recording and wrap this up. All right, so like I said, there you have it. You can feel free to let me know in the comments what you think. If you DNF'd any of these books, if you agree with me, let me know. Because I mean, a lot of these, I feel like I'm alone. That I know people love, like Dead Silence, and I feel like it's just me. I do know some other people didn't like it, but I feel like we're in the minority. In 2023, I definitely have to work on DNFing faster because some of these books I spent a lot of time on, and then by the time I decided to DNF, I lost a lot of time. So I'm going to DNF faster. And I also feel like I know my taste better this year, but we'll see. So yeah, I think that's about it for this video. If you don't have a comment about any of these books, but you just want to show me some love and let me know you made it this far in the video, you can leave me a thumbs down emoji because these are all books that sucked for me. And as always, ways you can support my channel are always linked below. You can donate towards coffee, tea, ebooks, things to help me out with my channel, all that good stuff. And I think that's it, all my beautiful people. So until next time, snuggle up in your hideaway with a good book, unlike the ones in this video. Unplug as much as possible. Be kind to all kind. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.